Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dwayne here with Growing Together, and we're trying to situate the phone so it doesn't fall over. Welcome back. Happy Saturday, folks. Great, beautiful day here in Zone 9B here in Florida, in Central Florida. We're in Orange City here, just north of Orlando. And today I woke up and, of course, thank you, Jesus. Whoa, we are awake and full of great energy. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully you guys can hear and see you, brother, because if not, we're going to be in trouble. But anyways, woke up today and the news this morning was saying, hey, man, we are hitting that red zone, right? We're in a very tough time right now here in Florida where this drought is getting ridiculous. They're telling people to stop watering, hold your breath, and no, they're just saying to be careful. Obviously, we're very dry. We are missing that beautiful rain right now, but we won't be getting rain until they're saying end of May is usually whenever it kicks back in. Rainy seasons, usually it's April showers brings May flowers, but here in Florida, we run a little bit different. Florida does what it wants, y'all. It's different. And right now we're dry, extremely dry, where they're telling people to not water their lawns, but I guess like once a month, or I'm sorry, once a week for watering your lawns, which kill your grass, folks. If you are watering lawns, shame on you. Now I know some of you have to keep the grass green, or else the HOA will send you that letter. Run, folks. Move away from the HOA. They don't love you. They're trying to keep you enslaved into going back to the store, which obviously you deserve better. You need to grow your own food, folks. This is the time of year, 2026, regardless of what happens, how much water they take from us. Hey, I can't take your beautiful nutrition and beautiful fruit trees. Man, this ground is all wonky, y'all. Hopefully we don't have this thing fall over once again. But anyways, it's a very dry time. And today we're going to talk about drought tolerant trees that you can actually plant and grow in your property right now. Maybe even a container or in ground, depending on where you're at. But this is for Florida. This is for Central Florida. Unless you want to push these in your area, push the zone, by all means. If you do have a greenhouse, most of these can be grown if you keep them nice and toasty. It's up to you. But anyways, here's a quick list that I got off of your favorite Google search engine here. And maybe some of these are wrong. I don't know. This is what Google says. We're going to go off of this. You let me know down below if these are right or wrong. Here we go. All right. Quick little list here. And I'm sure there's way more than what this states on here. This is something I just grabbed, but let's see here. First and foremost, we go with figs. Figs are drought tolerant. Here, you can put them in ground if you go ahead and doctor up your soil really. Otherwise, grow them in containers. That's probably the best way that we can go ahead and produce them here. My 2 cents is to keep them in containers. I used to think that they were bulletproof trees here and they wouldn't freeze, but I froze a GE Neary in a container in the back over there. So it does happen. Protect them in the wintertime, but they are drought tolerant. Loquats. Loquats are another one here. We do have a few of them available left, up to 4 varieties for $45. But loquats, drought tolerant, look great in the wintertime, and hence why I'm planting a ton of them back here. I need it for wind protection, shade protection, because that summer heat is coming, folks. So great trees, fruit's decent, right? Sweet, sour, jam it, juice it, whatever you want to do with it. Leaves are excellent as well. Jujube. Jujube is another great drought tolerant fruit tree. I did plant one in the back and it froze, so I have to replace that. I haven't actually tasted a Thai giant yet, which is the variety that was planted here in the back. But that one, no bueno, folks. It has to be replaced. I figured it was cold hardy, so I was like, yay, I put it in a good spot. Southern end of the property still, unfortunately, has to be replaced. All right, sapodilla. Another one that I don't have here. Okay, I will be getting some hopefully this year. Stay tuned. There are people that are wanting these berries, sapodillas, chicos. What's up? Hello. Thanks for tuning in. Many different names for it, but sapodillas are one that I haven't grown here on the property. I haven't fruited them. I just tasted for the first time this year. They're okay. What's your name? My name is Dwayne from Growing Together Nursery. Dwayne Ortiz. Welcome, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We're talking drought tolerant fruit trees here in Central Florida or for Southern Florida. Things that can work right now. We're very dry, folks, and time to mulch your yard, kill your grass, throw in some food in there instead. And here are some things, here are some fruit trees / shrubs that can work for your property, right? Less water, more food, right? All right, so we said sapodillas, we got pomegranates, okay? And I know in a perfect world, these would all be flashing up there and it'd be all, written on there perfect. No. We're gonna go off the list. We're old school here, right? Anyways, pomegranates. I don't have any pomegranates. They state that they're two different camps of you have to have the right selection or what do you do when you're wasting real estate? Somewhere in between, I'm sure that there are people that do this very well or know the exact varieties that do well in your location. My biggest complaint is we buy them, they get a little bit, of a decent size, and then see you later, they flop over, they fall out, or whatever. But there's also benefits to the leaves as well. So maybe not just chase the fruit on that one. Maybe there's something to the leaves as well. Do your own research. All right, pomegranates, Barbados cherries, all right, and other Eugenias, not just the Barbados cherries. Hello. Not just the Barbados, but many Eugenias are drought tolerant. So look into that, find out what works for you. And this is also depending on how cold it gets in your area, right? Hang on here, I'm in sun a little bit here. We're heating up. So many Eugenias, like the Barbados cherries, can be fine in these dry times, right? Mangoes is on the list. I know mangoes, once they get established and they get past their baby stage, then they can take off into the ground, take off running and allow them to find their own water. Do I still like to baby them? I do. I still like to give them a little bit of water here and there as they're pushing along. But technically speaking, people have grown them in dry periods and like dry farming where they don't water at all. I mean, first day, maybe a couple, a little bit of water. And then after that, they're off and running on their own. And people have claimed some successful stories. They've said that they've been fine. Many people do or now are adjusting to that style of growing where they are establishing their fruit trees, they're watering it maybe the first week. And then after that, it's hands off. You're going to find your own nutrition and your own hydration. Sorry, folks, I am open today, so we may have to split depending on if we get a customer or not. But let's find out how much time we have here to discuss some more drought-tolerant fruit trees that you need to be growing, or maybe you already have. If you do, awesome. Mangoes, right? Olives is the next one on the list. I don't have any olives growing over here. I need to get a few because I've was told that they too are very nutritional and not just the fruits, the leaves as well, right? So there's a lot of new species that I will be collecting that will be serving that dual purpose, not so much just for the fruit, but also utilizing the leaves as well. Do your own research, but olives, drought tolerant. I'm sure once you get them established, off and running, cold hardy as well. So more than likely can work in your area. Citrus, they claim, is drought tolerant. Thank you. Appreciate it. What's up, Mr. Carapa? Thanks for tuning in. So citrus, key limes, columellidan, pomelos, I'm sure they say citrus, but I'm sure pomelos, because they are a large fruit, may require some more water than the rest. I don't know. Kumquats, they say, are on the list. Give them water when they first start off. I'm sure the fruit will be better, bigger with a little bit more, but can you do it without? I'm sure you can. Is it easy to grow citrus now in the state of Florida? Absolutely not. We're at a 95% decline, hence why I don't push too much of it. People call me every day for citrus. They want that sweet hitter that they grew up with here. And it's tough because I got to tell them it's not a great investment anymore. Maybe you should reconsider. It's on and on, but people want their sweet citrus. Even if it lasts them 5 years, they don't care. People still want to get it. I know. People are like, you're a fool. You should be selling it because it's money. But then they got to hit me up here, or I got to be on the text control going back and forth over what's happening. Why is it looking this way? She's dying. I got it from you. Tell me what to do. I am no citrus doctor. Therefore, I can't help you when it does. Once it does start declining, right? So be careful with that. You're on your own. Unfortunately, I can get them to you, but I cannot fix them for you. That Chinese psyllid is wrecking the industry, and if you have the right answer, then maybe you can grow them successfully. There's many people that are stating that they can do it. Totally up to you. Right now, I'd rather push mangoes and avocados, even though you have to protect those for winter, than a citrus that can get infected by a little bug and then you got to spray the whole regimen and whatnot. That's not what I do. Anyways, citrus, drought tolerant. I can go on and on. Mulberries. All right. Mulberries is another drought tolerant fruit tree, which if you're not growing a mulberry, you should be. All right. They usually grow all over the country. I guess depends on where you're at. I know you're going to say, well, there's Alaska. Depends on where you're at. I'm sure there's a mulberry just for you. But it's an excellent fruit, produces a ton of it, and can be found in stores. So if you want to get your hands on some and you actually want to eat some fresh mulberries, best route is to grow them yourselves. Because guess what? Your neighbors ain't going to want to share once they start producing them fruits. They're going to want to keep them all to themselves. And rightfully so, they are delish. In different levels of bricks, check out my mulberry mashups where I go ahead and I squeeze the juice to find out who's the sweetest berry on the block. Anyways, we got round 1 up and round 2 up. Maybe one more round will be had here. We have a few more that have to be tested, but stay tuned. We will have some more. All right. Persimmons, going back to the drought tolerant list. Persimmons is another drought tolerant tree. Yes, we do have one. We need more. Always need more that are very easily grown here. Stick them in the ground, set and forget. Depending on varieties. Here we have the fuyu, which I love the fuyu. It is a crunchy persimmon that most people that eat it like it, unless you're in the soft and jelly type of camp where you allow it to become very gelatinous and it just like melts in your hand. It's a texture thing. But anyways, persimmons are fun, easily grown, set and forget. You don't have to worry about it freezing here. A lot of people are running from this delicious fruit that has to be babied a little bit in a greenhouse or garage shed in a pot. Some people want that instant set and forgets. Okay, Keeler, we got somebody. I may have to go. But anyways, persimmons, guavas, they say are also cold hardy, or not cold hardy, drought tolerant. So pineapple guavas, strawberry guavas. Don't know about all the list, but they say guavas, right? I Googled a few of them and supposedly they are drought tolerant. So check them out, grow them out. Again, when you first establish a tree, sure, water it in, give it a good start. And then after that, you can do a little bit less until you aren't doing a whole lot. Now, sure, if you are on city water, try to go ahead and off-gas that chlorine, get that stuff away from your trees. It will, may harm or burn depending on the age of the tree, right? These trees, real quick, have never had any chlorine on them. So when you do get them from me and you're putting them out into your property, know that you can shock them the first time that you go ahead and you give them that city water. Sucks, but it does happen. And I don't want them to think, oh man, something happened. It was a shock. It does happen. And it is because here they're getting well water. They don't have any other add-ons or chemicals or any of that stuff that does unfortunately happen. But anyways, water's key, fresh water. And let's see, 2 more here. We have the sugar apple, and they say other anonas as well. So sugar apples, sweet sop is an amazing fruit here. I am planting more out because it is a fantastic fruit. Smaller, there's a green variety and a red variety. Haven't had the red one just yet. Getting a phone call. I'll call you right back here. Green and a red. We are growing the green here. Hang on, we got some for sale. Excellent fruit. 26 degrees at maturity, but set them and forget them. Start them off young. Give them some good organic fertilizer, good mulch around it, and they'll be off into the races. And longan is the last one on the list, folks. Okay, longan, they say, is more drought tolerant than its brother or sister, the lychee. So another one that I have one tree. She is no longer with us. I doubt she is regrowing back, so that one will be replaced. But folks, it is a dry time and a terrible time here where it's getting pretty warm here in 9B. We do have to water our crops, try to water earlier on in the morning. That's my biggest advice. Water earlier on in the morning or later on in the afternoon. But try to go ahead and keep your trees alive. All right. If you are growing in containers, there's many different tips here that I could give you on growing in containers or in ground, but I like to use a lot of mulch in both, right? Because the containers are black, I do put them in I try to, for the most part, to keep the hydration in, so I don't have to water twice or 3 times a day. I will use the shade cloth. I use a lot of this 50% shade cloth. That way my pots, hey, we'll turn this around. We'll go for a quick walk. That way the pots that are in black containers won't dry out. So that is another great tip. Now, I'm no carpenter, but this shade cloth here, Amazon, 40 bucks, depending on your size. You can go ahead and keep a lot of the water inside your trees. Are they full sun by themselves? Yes, they are. But with a little bit of shade, you can go ahead and make them feel a whole lot better, folks. I'm telling you, you won't have to water as much, in my honest opinion. I've only been doing this for a few years, but we are gaining some information here and there. And I don't have it. Well, I do have irrigation here in the nursery, but it's very small amounts and I don't have it everywhere. So for the most part, this is hand watering. So, and it is something I do on the daily. Out here in the sun, I do have to water more just because the plants will wick away more of that, of the water here, because full sun, folks. So also another great tip is to mulch. This mulch here, in theory, can go ahead and absorb, they say, pools of water, right? So as this rains, as you wet your property, all of this mulch will absorb, and it beats growing grass. I know you're seeing a little bit of weeds in here, but rest assured, a lot of these are edible and they're our friends. But mulch will be your best friend during a drought, okay? That way you don't have to water as much. And I mulch pretty heavy. I mean, there is some grass starting to pop up through it. And I need a mulch for the first time this year, but we are going to be adding more. I add lots of it whenever I do plant a tree. And I like to plant them a little bit higher up on a mound there and then mulch all the way around. Now, this is not mulch from a big box store. This does come from an arborist. Many different ones from Chip Drop. But this right here is your best friend for drought. If you were to leave sand all around these trees when you first planted, well, then it makes to go ahead and keep water on that soil. If you were to only use sand around there, once you put the hose to it or whatnot, irrigation, that water is just going to slide right off. So this mulch helps out with keeping everything right there where you set it. And I am a big fan of it. I will be mulching this property forever, right? Chop and drop, plus using this hardwood mulch. So that's how we plant trees here. Raise them up a few inches off the ground. Mulch it up to the trunk, Dwayne. Yeah, we mulch up to the trunk. Not a ton up by the trunk, but I still do utilize it up there to the top. But folks, we are in a drought, so I am not using the irrigation. I am watering, well, not using the irrigation like I normally would. I'm not running it like that. I'm using just the just the hose and just hitting the trees that I need to, because I'm allowing the mulch to do its job as well, and everything's looking good. So once these trees do get established, they are, you know, more than likely on their own. Now, if you want better fruits and bigger, sweeter fruits, sure, give them a little bit more water. But can you get through the season without? Yes. You know, you can do a whole lot without water. Some people claim there's some mulberries that are stacked up waiting to be had today. This one's Shangri-La, and got more cooking out here. So once the trees get established, you don't have to do that much to them. In theory, it does take a little bit, but the deep watering myth, all right, needs to be talked about. Let's talk about that for a second. Still, the schools and the universities are telling you, oh my gosh, here's how you have to water. You have to go deep watering for all of your fruit trees. What have we found? What have I learned since I've been doing this? Well, according to, now let me tell you this. No, have I studied it? Have I done, you know, my own due diligence of doing my own research? No, I haven't studied any of it, right? I've heard, and therefore I'm telling you what I have heard. Here's a persimmon real quick. This one's the Fuyu. Last year she gave us like 2, but this year she's like, you want fruit? Watch out now. So we're going to get a bunch of it. So we got a customer here. But deep watering, folks, is a scam.